guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to be filming for you my full coverage foundation routine using drugstore products. And yeah, I just figured I would take you step by step of my foundation routine. If you've been watching me for the last few weeks / watched my February favorites, you're going to know what some of these products are. But I know that I have some new subscribers, and if you're just tuning into this video, then you probably don't know what my favorites are and how they look and how they cover, and you just want something full glam but affordable. You know what I'm saying? So I figured I'd film this today, so if any of you had any questions on what my current foundation routine is for a full coverage finish, I could just direct you to this one and you'll see all my favorite products. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any favorite products for your foundation, concealer, powders, all of that, definitely leave it in the comments below. Start a conversation. I think we're all here to find some amazing new products, so definitely put those in the comments below. If you're not subscribed already, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you leave, and yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. First things first is primer. The only drugstore primer that I have found that really works for me is the Soap & Glory One Heck of a Blot primer. I feel like most primers in the drugstore are geared more towards dry, combo, or normal skin. I haven't really found anything that works really well with my oily skin, and if it says it works for oily skin, I'll try it, and sometimes it's just a little too greasy. It leaves like a film and it just doesn't work. So this one is the one that I have found that helps fill in my pores, keeps me matte, and just creates a nice smooth base for my foundation to lay on top of, and it also helps extend the wear of foundation. So this is the Soap & Glory One Heck of a Blot primer. This one is fantastic. You get it at Target, Ulta, Walgreens. I feel like they're being sold pretty much in a lot of places right now. And their One Heck of a Blot foundation is pretty amazing too, so definitely check that out. Those two together work really well. So I just like to put this mainly in the center of my face and then just work it out. Also, if you're new to my channel, I do have rosacea. That's all that redness that you're seeing. Whenever I apply makeup, I'm either full coverage or bare face. There's no like in between ever. I don't like light coverage foundations. I don't even like medium coverage foundations for the most part. I love a good medium to full coverage, like mainly full coverage. If I use more of a medium coverage foundation, it needs to be buildable to full coverage or something that I could help get a fuller coverage with a concealer. You know what I mean? As you guys know, if you've been following me, my favorite foundation at the moment is the LA Girl Pro Matte HD Longwear Foundation. This is so good. So good. I love this one. I have 4 different shades. We have medium beige, light tan, beige, and then sand. Sand does oxidize as well as light tan, so just be warned of that. Sand probably oxidizes the most on me, but the other ones don't really oxidize that bad. So today I think I'm going to be medium beige. This is what we're just going to rock today. I do have a little bit of a tan. I could probably go with light tan, but it might be a little dark, so we'll just see when I put this on my hand. But it just has a frosted glass like this. I believe it's $9 to $10 depending on where you get it. They do have more colors. Last I checked on LA Girl, they have more colors on their website than they do on Ulta.com, and this is the color right there. That might be a little light, so I'm going to take just a tiny bit of light tan and put that in there like that. First drugstore tool is the Real Techniques Face and Body Sponge. You could obviously use the regular sponge that is not the size of Texas, but I personally like this. It gets my foundation on so quickly. I get a lot of daisy hairs on it for some reason. I'm going to use the tip of this to put this foundation all over my skin. All the products I'm using today work so well together. They just like all melt in. They're seamless. They literally look perfect. And we're just going to press it in. This foundation does look good with a brush or with a sponge. I like either way, but personally, I feel like I'm a sponge person because I just love the feeling of the cool sponge like pouncing on my face. It kind of feels like I'm pushing a pillow on my skin. I don't know. It just feels really nice, and I just enjoy using a sponge. But if you want to use a brush, this foundation does look good with that as well. It's a little bit light, but this will kind of oxidize to the color that I am on my body. I am self-tanning. I actually have Loving Tan and Ultra Dark on. You can see how well that covers. It really does minimize the look of your pores. Since I have rosacea, I do have a lot of texture, and I do have larger pores as well. I used to be super self-conscious about my pores, but I noticed since I really started taking care of my skin a few years ago, my pores have changed completely. You know, washing off my makeup every night. I've noticed the biggest difference with, first off, my skincare. As long as I'm sticking to my skincare regimen, my skin will be fine, my pores will be smaller, and also just focusing on what products work best for you. If a foundation doesn't look good on your pores, that's totally fine. Return it, do whatever. And there's a different foundation out there that's going to look better on your skin. So just because something enlarges your pores doesn't mean it's the end of the world. You know what I mean? Sometimes I used to feel like that, like, oh, she has like perfect skin and no pores. How does that happen? And trust me, you'll find that perfect product for you. And I feel like this product is that for me. Like a $9 to $10 foundation, that's crazy. So you can see how it looks on my skin. It's just very smooth and pretty, and it covers so well. And with this sponge, it's just like boop, a magic wand. Takes no time at all. It looks so good. I don't even have any powder on, and it just looks smooth, flawless. Now I'm going in with the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Concealer. This one's in the shade Light. If I want something a little bit darker, not so highlighted, I will go for light medium, but this is my full coverage glam, not playing any games makeup. This is what the concealer looks like. I absolutely love this one because it's very smooth. Like, the application is such a great process. It just glides over your cheek and blends really well, gives you amazing coverage. This is like probably my ultimate, I'm looking at my drugstore concealers now. This is probably my favorite drugstore concealer ever. So it does have a doe foot applicator, and it kind of has a little bit of an angle to it, and it's nice because when you're applying it, it just smooths on like that. Now, you could stop here, but I do like a little more concealer. This is just what I do with all my concealers. I really make sure I bring it down over my cheeks a little bit. If you don't have a lot of redness in the cheek area, you don't really have to do this unless you want to highlight the skin. But I just do that to make sure I have full, complete coverage throughout the day and nothing kind of wears off. I have done this for such a long time. Like, if I double layer my cheek area because it is so pigmented and red, it just really helps with my makeup lasting a little bit longer on my cheeks and absolutely no redness peeking through, which is what I like. That's why I just drag it down quite a bit more. I also bring it into the inner corner. I don't take it in my eyebrow like that just happened, but I take it in my inner corners because I'm really dark in that area. And then I go down my nose to help highlight and contour this. Take some on my forehead, Cupid's bow, and my chin. Again, this is just how much concealer I like, but you can alter it to whatever you need. Taking that same sponge, I'm going to blend out this concealer. I just like to pinch it and then go in and tap it out. This concealer and foundation combo, something about the two, because the concealer does have more of a matte finish. Even though it's called Light Illusion Concealer, it really does have a nice like satin matte finish, but the two mix so well together and they look so gorgeous on the skin. It's like a match made in heaven with these two. You just want to really press that in and blend out those edges of that concealer just so it's highlighted, but there's not like a super intense line on your cheek. And then I do like to go in on my lids. Now, if I'm doing eyeshadow, I won't put concealer on my lid, but since I'm not doing a lot of eyeshadow today, I am doing that just because I also have really oily eyelids. So don't be afraid just to sit there and work with your makeup to make sure everything is completely blended out. You don't want to go out with any harsh lines, of course, nobody does. I really do take my time because A, I enjoyed the foundation concealer process. I think it's one of my favorite parts of makeup, but you also just want to make sure there's not like a spot that you completely missed. And with this sponge, you ain't gonna miss nothing, but you never know. As I mentioned before, you definitely don't want to bake with this concealer. I have found that it does kind of break up when you go to dust away the powder. That might just be because I'm oily, I don't know. For me, it didn't work to bake with this concealer. So all I do is I just press my powder into the concealer and don't worry about baking or anything like that. Favorite powder of the moment is the Makeup Revolution Luxury Baking Powder Lace. This does have more of a banana tint to it, which I like. It's not gonna look chalky on your skin. It's going to just highlight that face and set everything beautifully. I love this powder from the drugstore. I think it's fantastic. So definitely check this out if you're into kind of yellow toned powders. If you've been trying loose powders that are like white or colorless, I would definitely try out the light banana kind of colors because they will blow your mind. You'll be like, where have I been? This honestly just helps brighten. It looks amazing on the skin and it doesn't cause any flashback, anything like that. I haven't used a colorless powder in so long. Even one of my favorites, this is a Too Faced Peach Perfect mattifying loose setting powder. This is one of my favorite high-end powders ever, but even this one has like a slight peachy tint to it, and it just makes the biggest difference in the world. Highly recommend trying out powders with tints to kind of help with any flashback, looking chalky underneath the eye. It makes the biggest difference in the world. Another really great powder that has kind of a yellow tint that is, I think, a little bit more affordable than the Makeup Revolution is the LA Girl Pro powder. This is the HD high definition powder in banana yellow. So this also kind of goes along with this foundation as well, and they work really well together. This is another great product to try. You can get it at Ulta. You can get most of these products at Ulta because that's where I shop most of the time. I have to make sure my mic is on because the last time I filmed this, my mic went out and I was like, oh my God. I was very upset. Okay, so I'm just going to use this Pixie brush. I normally like to use a Morphe G6, but I can't find it right now, so I'm just going to use this one. They kind of have the same shape where they're like that kind of kabuki style brush, but they still have a lot of movement. So I'm just going to use this one since I can't find my Morphe one right now. And I'll just take the powder and really press it into that under eye area. I'm getting as close to that lower lash line as possible so we can really set that concealer, and that way it won't go into any fine lines. I also take it on my lids. Even though I'm not going to put any like crazy eyeshadow on my lids, I do like to set it with powder just because, like I said, they get very oily. And then I just go over my face, like whatever's left, like right underneath my cheekbones, all of that with powder. I don't need a lot of powder for this. I just need to like set the product. I never not set my foundation. I've never found that works for me. No matter how matte a foundation is, I always have to set it or I'm going to be a mess. I have to set my makeup because I just get so oily. And that way when I set it, it just helps prevent anything kind of moving later on in the day. If you have like dry skin or normal, you could probably get away with not setting this foundation because it does have that like satin matte finish, and some people don't need powder. Another loose powder that's really great also, it's just sitting right here. I'm surprised at how big this is that I missed it. This is the chunkiest packaging ever, but the powder is great, I promise. This is the Flower Beauty Loose Powder in L01. Do not get the, what is it, like translucent one? Oh my gosh, flashback crazy, even without flash. Like you sit there and you're looking at your skin and you can just see where you put the powder. But this one is good. This one's in the shade L01. So like I said, this one does have a tint. I'm kind of like almost out of it, as you guys can see. I took the sifter out because that's just who I am. I really love this powder. Again, it does give you a really smooth finish, and it just looks really great on the skin. So definitely check that one out too. I know you can get it at Walmart. Now what we're going to do is put some bronzer on. I have a few different favorite bronzers. Right now I am using this Catrice Sun Glow Matte Bronzing Powder in the shade Medium Bronze. Brush I'm using was from a Sonia Kashuk set, and I don't know if they have it anymore because they did revamp Sonia Kashuk, so probably not. But I'm sure you can find something similar. It's like a little dome brush. I love this for bronzing the face. I love this. It's just a nice warm toned bronzer. Really gives you that sun-kissed look. Makes you look like you went to the beach and you came back and you're just so bronzed. Love it. So this is what I'm going to be using. It's very pigmented as well. So I just tap off any excess, and then I take my bronzer right on my cheeks in circular motions, and then I just bring it up to my forehead. Just like that. Like, look at the difference between this side and this side. I love bronzer. I could have just bronzer and go without blush, like, because sometimes I use my bronzer as a blush. If it came down to blush or bronzer, I would totally do bronzer. So again, I'm just doing circular motions here on my cheeks, and then I'm gonna take it up towards my forehead. This is just how I like to bronze. This is what it looks like with all the bronzer on. I am just gonna take a little bit down my neck just to match everything. Then I just like to go in with any stippling brush. I love a MAC stippling brush. This one is 187S. But then I also love this one from Isabel Scott. This is actually a TJ Maxx brush set. I got it out of that, and it's really soft. So I'll just kind of go over my bronzer and make sure all those edges are blended and we're not looking crazy. You know what I mean? Because sometimes I can get a little crazy with bronzer and blush. and highlight. So I just have to go in and really blend it out. Okay, now it's time to contour. I really love the Catrice Prime and Fine Professional Contouring Palette. I don't really ever use this, but I do use this contour shade because it is more ashy. So I will be using this today. Another just all over bronzer that's really good is the CoverGirl truBlend bronzer, and this one's in number 200 bronze. I like this a lot too. Gives a gorgeous warm glow to the skin if you're wanting a little bit of shimmer in there. And then another bronzer that is great is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. This one just smells like so good. Sometimes I need my bronzers a little bit darker than this, so that's why I haven't been using it as much lately. But it is a really great formula. It blends really well, and it's really smooth on the skin, and it smells so good. Like every time I open the drawer with this in it, all you do is smell like coconut amazingness. It's amazing. Then the last one I want to mention is this Catrice Cosmetics. It's called the Professional Makeup Techniques Face Palette. So you have a little bit of everything in here. You have things to set your under eye with, contour with, blush, highlight. So I actually did a video showing you guys how I use this, so I will link it down below or in a card over here. But I really like this palette too. It's great if you want kind of like an all-in-one palette. So like I said, I'm going to be taking the Catrice Prime and Fine Contouring Palette. This one's in the shade Warm Harmony. And I'm going to be taking the contour shade and contouring underneath my cheekbones. I'm going to use this little Wet n Wild brush. This is number P65. And it just looks like a little dome. I'm just going to contour right underneath my cheeks. This is very pigmented, so just keep that in mind. And it just really carves out that cheekbone. Oh, I need to get that foundation off my lips. Why didn't you guys tell me? And then I like to take my contour underneath my bottom lip, and I just kind of go like in the same shape as my chin, so I'll kind of just go like this and shape underneath it to make that lip look a little bit poutier. And then of course underneath my jaw. I'm always trying to make my jaw look a little bit thinner, sharper, better. I could talk about blush all day long. I am not picky when it comes to blush. I will use the most affordable blush to the highest of high-end blushes. I love Palladio matte blushes. These are absolutely amazing. I will say I'm more of a matte blush kind of person because I do have texture and pores, and I like to bring my blush here on the apples of my cheeks. So that's why I love a lot of Palladio's blushes. They're very pigmented. The packaging is so sleek and pretty. Really great products. And then I love this Essence Blush Play Sculpting blush palette as well. This is a highlighter. I never really use it, but I do love mixing these two together for a really gorgeous like rosy coral glow. I'm going to be using the Essence one, and I'm going to mix these two together. Kokie has really great blushes as well, and Kokie's at Walmart. So I'm just going to put this on the apples. So I take the very tip of that brush and kind of get it right here on the apple of my cheek, and then just push back. I'm that person who puts on a lot of blush at first, and then I'll go in and blend it out. And most of the time, the blushes will blend out. Sometimes you have those little finicky ones that don't want to blend out, and then you're like, oh, I'm screwed. But for the most part, they all blend out. I just take a nice duo fiber brush and go in, and I do circular motions to really blend it out, and that way it just gives you a pretty flush of color. But yeah, I know, I'm fully aware that I do too much blush sometimes, but I don't know. It's just something about blush. I just love it. Highlighters from the drugstore. We could talk about this all day long. I have quite a few favorites. I'm going to show you 4 of my favorites for the moment. First one I'm going to talk about is this one from Milani. This is the Stellar Lights Rose Glow. Every single shade in here is so beautiful. They do have a little bit of shimmer in there, so just be warned. If you have a lot of texture in your cheeks, this does have some shimmer, so it will make it a little bit more emphasized. But I do feel like once you blend it out, it kind of like melts into the skin and looks really beautiful, and it's nothing too crazy. If you want a wet, intense looking highlighter, this is the way to go. It is absolutely stunning. I think the packaging is beautiful. Everything about this is just A+. This one doesn't have shimmer. It's just very smooth and creamy, and it is blinding. The littlest amount of this highlighter palette goes a long way. This is from Flower Beauty, and it is the Shimmer and Strobe highlighting palette. It is beautiful. You have really, really great colors in here. They are very intense. I love this palette. It did come with a brush, but I don't know where it is. This one, it is very slim, compact, great to travel with. Also really love this LA Girl Strobe Light Strobing Powder. So this might be the most affordable in this collection I'm sharing with you. This one's really gorgeous as well. It's in the shade 50 Watt. Looking at it, it looks a little intimidating because it looks a little ashy, but once you put it on your skin, just gives you a really pretty golden glow. And it doesn't have any shimmer in there. It's just a really pretty sheen. But if you're more fair, this probably would turn a little bit gray on you, so I wouldn't recommend it. So I have a hard time going back and forth with the Milani one and this next one I'm about to share with you because I love both so much, but I am going to use this one today. And it is the Makeup Revolution Soph X Highlighter Palette. This is a collaboration with a YouTuber, which I think is amazing. And these powders are phenomenal. This is what they look like. You kind of see the different formulas in here. These are definitely like super metallic and very wet looking. Something to really amp up these 3 shades, but also these 3 shades are intense. Like, your highlight is crazy when you use this. It is so beautiful. They blend really well. They don't accentuate texture, and they give you, like, if you have texture but you want a blinding highlight, this palette is honestly the way to go because it just looks gorgeous on the skin. I can't say enough good things about it. I think it's phenomenal. So I'm going to be using this Milani All Over Blending Brush. This is very similar to the Anastasia A23 brush, their highlighting one. And I'm just going to mix these two first. And then I'm going to take it on my cheek and bring it down quite a bit. And then also a little bit above my brow, but not a ton. So that's what that looks like. So pretty. These are very, very smooth. So if you do have texture and you want to bring your highlight a little bit more forward, these are definitely the shades to go to because they're not going to be like bam intense on your texture. You know what I'm saying? Bring this down my cheek. I mean, you can even see how intense that highlight is, but we're about to amp it up. Also, I do like to go in and just do circular motions on my cheek to diffuse any line that we might have. But that is what that looks like. So if you're looking for something not so intense like I'm about to do, this highlight palette can do pretty much anything for you. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go into this shade right here, and I'm going to put this like right in the center for that pop. I mean, there's just something about this that I cannot get away from. Like, I just think it is so beautiful. And then I do like to take my finger and put some on my nose. I don't normally like to go all the way to the tip of my nose. I hate highlighting the tip of my nose, like all right in here. Just something about it I can't stand. But I will take some of that highlighter and put it like right in the center of the nose, like that. But I don't bring it down right here and just rub a circle there. It doesn't look good on me. My nose is kind of thick right here, so I don't like to do that. So this is what the foundation, concealer, blush, highlight all looks like. These are all drugstore makeup products. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to finish up the rest of my face makeup, and then I'll be back to wrap this video up for you guys. Okay guys, so I am all done with my makeup. I just added a wing liner, lashes. These are the Lily lashes in Mink Miami. And yeah, that is my completed look. Full foundation routine, all drugstore products. I'm so happy with these products. I think they're amazing. Highly recommend you guys checking them out. I will definitely list all of them down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.